Hello, my name is Marissa Mangel, and I did my honors project in my environmental science class with Professor Barth. For my project, I conducted an experiment that asks the question, how does trash affect plant growth? For my experiment, I used a specific type of radish that is smaller and grows in 23 to 30 days. I planted 3 radish seeds in 7 different pots, each filled with soil mixed with a type of trash. I had a control pot mixed with no trash, then pots mixed with cardboard, paper, hard plastic, soft plastic, styrofoam, and food waste, respectively. I monitored and recorded the growth of each plant compared to each other every week for a 30-day period. At the end of the 30-day period, I assessed each radish on how many days it took to germinate, its final height, each plant's firmness, the colors of each plant's leaves and stem, and each plant's leaf-to-stem ratio. This is what each plant looked like on day 1. At the beginning, I hypothesized that the compost radish would be of the best quality compared to the 6 others because of the extra added nutrients compost is known to give to plants. I predicted that the styrofoam radish would have the worst quality due to styrofoam being bad for the environment because of its long decomposition time. In the first 2 weeks, all the plants germinated. First was compost, followed by hard plastic and paper, then the control pot and styrofoam, and lastly cardboard and soft plastic. I also noticed that the paper, cardboard, and compost in the respective pots started decomposing. Pictured on the right is each plant 2 weeks into the experiment. Throughout week 3, all the plants continued growing, and the paper, cardboard, and compost continued decomposing. Here is what they looked like. Day 30 finally came, and as I excitedly dug up each plant to see what grew, I was disappointed to find that there were no radishes. However, there were differences in each plant that I was able to record and interpret data from. Here is what each plant looked like by day 30. In more detail, here is how I evaluated the plants. I recorded how many days it took each plant to germinate, each plant's final height in centimeters. I tested the firmness of each plant's stems by holding it horizontally at the base and seeing how much it drooped. I recorded the color and number of leaves and stems each plant had, and I then calculated a leaf-to-stem ratio with that data. Finally, I recorded any other observations in each plant when applicable. Here is my data table. As you can see, there were many differences between each plant. I will explain it a little bit more in my next slide. When compared to the control plant, the heights of plants with added trash were split evenly into taller and shorter than the control. There were 3 plants that were taller than the control plant, and they were taller by an average of 0.87 centimeters. The plants that were shorter than the control plant were shorter by an average of 1.3 centimeters. The leaves on the paper, hard plastic, and soft plastic plants were not green, indicating malnourishment. On a positive note, though, all the trash plants had more leaves and leaves per stem on average than the control plant. There is room for error in my experiment. The plants were not on a strict watering schedule and were watered either by rain or by me as I saw fit. The plants were also in and out of the house as weather permitted, so they didn't always get direct sunlight. Additionally, when they were outside, bugs could have messed with the plants. The biggest conclusion I made from this experiment is that trash affects plants in various ways, some beneficial, some harmful, and some both at the same time. Cardboard and styrofoam was shown to be the most beneficial to plant growth and quality in my experiment, which completely evaded my hypothesis. All types of plastics were shown to be the most harmful to plants in my experiment, and paper and compost specifically were beneficial in some ways but simultaneously harmful in other ways. Overall, the mixed results were very interesting for me to see. The next steps I still need to take for my honors project in May would be to make a brochure promoting my findings and to create and present a PowerPoint to my class about the same thing. What have I gotten out of doing this project? As someone who was always quite waste cautious, I've found a new understanding about how trash affects plant life in our environment. I also got to experience properly what it's like caring for plants and have found a new joy in growing them. Here are my references, and I'd like to thank Professor Barth for allowing me to conduct this experiment, and thank you for letting me talk about my project. Thank you.